Now, over the last year, 17-year-old Greta Thunberg has become one of the most famous climate campaigners in the world, probably the most famous. But for the last 3 months, she, like many of us, has been in lockdown at her home in Stockholm.
But she believes there are important lessons to be learned from the coronavirus pandemic and the Black Lives Matter protests that could help in the fight to tackle climate change. Our chief environment correspondent, Justin Rowlett, reports.
The best thing about lockdown for Greta Thunberg? More time with her dog, Roxy. And she has also found time to speak exclusively to us. The glass houses at Kew store some of the world's rarest plants. Greta says the coronavirus pandemic is a tragedy with no long-term benefits for the environment, except that it might just alter the way the world approaches other crises.
They are saying we will do whatever it takes because we cannot put a price on a human life. If you use that logic, it changes the discussion and the debate.
She's been following the Black Lives Matter protests and talks about what she described as an awakening, not just on race and climate, but on gender and other issues.
It is always the fight for justice, and it feels like we have passed some kind of social tipping point where people are starting to realize that we cannot keep looking away from these things. We cannot keep sweeping these things under the carpet, these injustices.
Her big lockdown project has been a programme for Swedish radio about her campaigning.
My message is, and has always been, listen to the science.
Her action on climate took her across the Atlantic on a racing yacht. Saw her heading up huge rallies.
People are dying, and all you can talk about is money and fairy tales of eternal economic growth. How dare you?
And calling out world leaders in the UN. She tells me her growing celebrity worldwide has led to terrible threats and abuse of her family and friends online.
People don't want to hear me talk about this, and people won't be able to handle this, so they're going to try to silence me, and some people know no limits. It doesn't affect me when people attack me. It's hard when your family and especially my little sister gets targeted of these kinds of things. That is the hardest things.
But she says in a crazy way it shows her message is getting through.
They are trying to silence you for a reason, and that reason is because you are too loud. And if you are loud, that means you're having a difference. You're having an impact.
Greta Thunberg has suffered mental health issues and is autistic. She believes it has been a strength, not a weakness. She calls her autism her superpower.
It makes me different from the rest. It makes me see the world in a different view. Many people seem to be able to see the climate crisis and say, like, yeah, it's really important, and then just go on with their everyday lives. And I cannot do that.
This is the defining image of Greta, a child protesting alone outside the Swedish parliament.
Without my autism, I never would have started school strike. I tried all different methods, but honestly that didn't work because I was too bad at socializing. I didn't enjoy, I just hated making small talk and constantly being around so many people, socializing. So then I decided, well, I might just do something myself then.
She is proud she decided to talk openly about mental health.
There is actually many people who are suffering from bad mental health. So many people reach out to me and say, I have autism as well, and thank you for killing stereotypes, and that makes me very, very happy that I can contribute to that.
The 17-year-old is now looking forward to going back to school in a few weeks' time.
And I am really hoping to study because I love studying.
But Greta Thunberg says she has no plans to stop campaigning on the climate. Justin Rowlett, BBC News.
Always fascinating to hear from her and her take on what's been happening throughout this current crisis.
Yeah.
There's been lots of discussion about how it might impact on the whole debate around climate change. Lots to think about.
To think, because so she's in Sweden, so they've had such a different policy to
Yeah.
the UK, and going back to school and stuff seems to be rather more advanced, or rather more certain than it is in the nations of the UK right now.